Intruders! We must flee.
Oh, do you think he dates? So what do you think of our little haven in the woods? It might not have all the comforts of a southern settlement, but at least it's ours.
And there's a lot to be said for that. It can't have been easy keeping this place a secret.
Not easy, no. We've dedicated our lives to maintaining the glamour that conceals us. Us and Walyas.
This man, Walyas, is he Leviathan's dominant?
That's right. Though he's no man, Walyas is still a baby.
A baby?
Forgive me, but you said that the Dominant and his icon were bound inside the Surge almost a century ago. That would surely make him older still.
It would, if he'd been allowed to age. But the spell robbed the poor bairn of even that.
I'm sorry.
Walyas was the son of my great-grandfather. Leviathan awoke within him almost immediately. But instead of allowing the lad to live out his life as a valued member of the community, my ancestors sought to put his power to other uses. Sadly for them, the icons sensed their treachery and summoned a wave so large it would have swallowed the entire village if my ancestors hadn't stopped him.
Then it is not the surge that binds the child, but time itself.
Yes.
Forgive me. I'm still not sure I understand.
I'm not surprised. It isn't the easiest thing to explain. Which is why it might be better if I took you to see him. Show you exactly what he has to endure.
That is why we came.
Then let us be off. There's a road that leads north from the village. It'll take us right into the Surge.
Are you bound for the Wave, tributary?
We are, Delina. Have you spread the word about our guests?
I have. Everyone knows to treat them as family.
You shouldn't have any trouble now, but just in case, I would have you accept this symbol of our people.
That's very kind. I look forward to meeting.
The feeling's mutual.
Should the tributary be indisposed, feel free to ask me any questions you might have regarding the village, and I'll do...
Thank you.
Then I bid you good tide.
Our storehouse lies across the bridge. If you're short of supplies, you may find what you need there. Though we will have to ask you for recompense, poor as we are.
Sid? You are Sid, aren't you? The man... I wonder if you could help...
With what exactly?
Oh, nothing too troublesome. Do you know my husband, Pavat? He's the village smith, among other things. Anyway, his name day's not far off, and I wanted to make a gift for him. He's a craftsman, you see, and he's been fretting about running low on the flowers he uses for dye making, so I wondered if you... Perhaps, but it can't, for reasons I can't please. I know it sounds daft, but I'd be ever...
Fine. Which flowers does your husband need?
The sweet little blue ones that grow around the fount. We use them to dye our fabrics so we always feel close to water like they are. You don't need to go to the trouble of picking them yourself, though. Just speak to the field hands and ask them to share them.
2 basketful... Excuse me. Pavart's wife tasked me with collecting some.
Ah. Werder wants you to bless her better half. Go on, then. Give the old fool something to squirm about.
I'm sorry.
Ah, don't worry. An old fool Pavart may be, but...
Ah, well...
Thank you. Forgive my presumptuousness, but the smith's wife...
Well...
It is. They really are beautiful.
Aren't they just? Though that's legend has it that when our people fled from Ash, and as they wandered high and low across the Twins, he'd plant them wherever... So when we finally put down roots here...
Well, that's 2 basketfuls. Time to visit Pavart. Your wife asked me to bring you these flowers.
Come out and...
Who?
Would either of you care to...
I'm sorry. It's just... My husband can be a bit standoffish at times, and I thought, what with you being a swordsman like and him being the only smith in the village, it'd be a shame if he couldn't...
The only reason he couldn't turn to me for help is because I had my hands full with all the orders you lot... I'm pretty much done with them now, though. But, for the record, the tributary said that we were to lend you outsiders our aid, and still, here we are. Acquaint.
All right.
All right, then.
You use them for dyeing, eh?
Aye. Crush the petals and it makes... We use it to stain the cloth for our tunics and pennons.
As modes of water.
That's right. The pattern, too, was left by our ancestors. The ceaseless rill, it's called. And no matter how that river has ebbed and flowed, changed its course... I should get back to work.
I will.
Yes? Till next time, then.
Where in the... Oh, I'll have her hide when she gets back. Oh, sorry. If you're after something from the storehouse, it's actually... She will have to charge you for the goods, though. Not that would fleece you or anything.
I understand.
Saying that, she might not be able to get anything down for you for...
Ah, right.
She's got her hands full. Ah, the heavens only know.
If you'd like me to keep an eye out.
Oh, no. Could I?
Of course not.
I hope not. But I've scoured the entire... Aye.
All right.
Hear me, mine ancestors.
Thanks.
Shoot.
There's that. No. This must be the path.
It's you!
Human.
Can
You, well,
and
Thank you for
oh no.
Daddy.
You... One of the... A few of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's one. So...
Thanks for bringing... Anyway, this is all we have. May it serve you well. Well, if you're sure you need it. May it serve you well.
What do you think the tributary season was outside?
How long do you think this bridge has been standing?
Suddenly, there were curves everywhere.
Did you hear that, girl?
There's a pair of ships just up ahead.
Ships? But are we not still leagues from the shore?
The quickest route to the surge is due east, past the second galley.
Shula, how did these ships come to be here?
What do you imagine happens when an icon of water gets angry?
Really, brother? Did you have to ask?
Tonberries. Foul creatures consumed by their hatred for everyone and everything.
Everything seems sharp knives, it seems. Caution, brother.
can smell the sea.
It's not far now.
How will we reach the surge?
We'll follow the coastline north. There's a bridge that'll take us across to the cape.
Guess we're all ready. No holding back.
Might I inquire about the ray of light?
It's what prevents the surge from being reclaimed by the sea. And Wallius by his people.
You said before that the child is bound within the surge. But you've yet to tell us how we're meant to reach him. I trust we won't have to hold our breath.
No. The surge wraps around the cape without engulfing it. If we continue to its tip, there is a path down to the seabed. And the wave's origin.
All right. It won't be the first dominant we've met at the bottom of the ocean.
It's not much further now.
The path seems well kept. Do you and the villagers often come this way?
Only me. Once every new moon without fail. It is my duty both as village elder and Wallius's descendant.
But surely no one blames you for what happened. Why should you bear the responsibility alone?
You misunderstand. I do it because I want to. To show him that he isn't alone, and that there are still some of us who would see an end to his suffering. Suffering you will soon witness with your own eyes. The forest grows quickly here, Left unattended, the path would be reclaimed in a matter of moons.
Does the light point the way to the child?
It does indeed.
Look at all the droplets of water suspended in midair.
Where they have remained untouched by time for 80 summers.
It's not right.
No, it's not.
There. Up ahead. Down in the center. Follow me.
He's still primed.
I'll never forget my first priming. The fear. And I was old enough to understand what was happening. One can only imagine how this poor child felt.
He is the victim of an unforgivable sin. Committed by people who saw him as nothing but a means to an end. He must be so frightened.
Then I'll ease his burden.
You don't mean?
I'm not going to hurt him. Contrary to the tales, I don't go around killing dominants for no reason. What if I told you there was a way to remove Wallis's icon?
I'd tell you you were a madman.
It's hard to believe, I know. But it can be done. Though, it isn't without its risks. Part of the icon remains no matter what.
So, it might still come to violence.
I don't know. It depends on the dominant. I've seen things end well, and I've seen things spiral out of control. But I do know one thing. If we turn our backs on this child, there will be no end to his suffering. And I think that a worse fate than the alternative. Don't you?
Very well. Do what you must. And whatever happens, I will own the consequences.
Don't be afraid, little one. Let me bear the weight. Hush now. It's going to be all right.
Is it done?
I think so. I can feel the icon inside me. But something's wrong. He wasn't just afraid. He was angry. All right. Let's see what you've given me.
Leviathan!
No, just an eggy. But a formidable adversary nonetheless.
Oh, look. It has friends. Is everyone all right?
He seems calmer now.
You said Walius was frozen in time.
He's never reacted to anything or anyone.
The child has been bound for nigh on a century. If he has been conscious from the first, we must remove...
It's not that I wish it were, but... There's more to this tale.
I see.
I'm sorry, Walyas. So, part of Leviathan is inside you now?
No.
Good. Because if you want to know the rest, we should...
Of course.
To understand the spell which binds Walyas, you must first know who we are, and what drove my forebears to commit such an atrocity. This tapestry is our story, the one that brought us here. After generations of wandering, my people sought refuge in northeastern Storm, some 170 years ago. But in exchange for our safety, the Gregorian Church demanded we renounce our faith, and branded us heretics when we could not.
To be exterminated, as a lesson to others.
And so was it chronicled in the Imperial histories, for anything less would have made the Church seem weak. Yet a handful survived. The few who did fled north and west, and in doing so discovered two things that would forever shape our fates. The first was an old legend, revealing how to make your very own Mother Crystal.
I've heard that one before.
Yes, yet it gave them new hope, however false. Our ancestors convinced themselves that they could recreate the divine if they could only find a strong enough heart. A living being capable of channeling torrents of ether. And the heavens provided.
A dominant. Well, yes.
They'd stumbled across a nostrum in an ancient ruin, which they believed could provoke a sudden outpouring of a creature's ether. They meant to enrage his icon. Leviathan would have destroyed everything, had our people not made their second important discovery. A means to stop time itself.
Where did they find that? The Northerners had no such magics, or they would have used them.
When our ancestors first arrived, the land was uninhabited, save for an old witch who lived on the highest peak. Her body had been consumed by the curse, a cruel payment for her long years of service to the Northern Thanes. So desperate were they to prevent the fall of Drake's Eye, they'd forced her to devise a spell to stop time.
But Drake's Eye did fall.
It did. When she finally perfected the necessary magics, it was already too late. As punishment for her failure, the Thanes exiled her to this forsaken place to live out the few days she had left. Knowing her suffering, our ancestors cared for her as best they could, and in return, she gifted them her spell. That even though she should die, her legacy might live on. So armed with both the knowledge of the ancients and the secrets of time, our ancestors settled upon an ambitious plan. They would create a new Mother Crystal, and enchant it that it might endure for all eternity. Thus would our people's wandering, our suffering, finally end, and prosperity visit us once more. And all it would require was the sacrifice of a single child. A small price to pay. Or so they believed.
Another victim of man's blind reliance on the Mother Crystals. So we know the seal source. How do we break it and restore the flow of time?
Do you recall the Dome of Light on top of the cliffs to the west? Inside lie the ruins of an old temple. It was there that the witch built the Vare, a conduit of sorts that channels her remaining ether into the Surge. But it's been a long time since anyone set foot in the place. And now, there are others who claim it as their own.
Then we shall go prepared for a fight. That said, it may be best if one of us stays behind.
You think the village could be in danger?
We saw the ether flow from Wallius in all directions, but only encountered a single familiar. There will be more. And should even one make its way here, I doubt the walls could hold it back for long.
Then I shall stay. The Phoenix will...
You have my...
Very well. I fear time may no longer be a luxury.
The Vare is not easy to find. We must... First head north, and then west, deeper into the forest.
No sign of the child.
You don't think he's...
Yes?
Bastard things. Tore the fish right up. Oh, I never should have let him go alone.
Hail, stranger.
Before, we turned east at the shipwrecks to reach the coast. Now we must head in the opposite direction.
Left it is, then.
There's a large gate up ahead, and beyond it, a cluster of ancient ruins. The temple, or the Heir of Hours as my people call it, can only be reached by passing through them. The forest is crawling with life, most of it hungry, which is why we make sure this gate stays shut.
Why you carry that impressive-looking axe, I presume?
Noticed her, have you?
The temple is up there.
Don't worry. Those cliffs aren't the only way to the top.
Are these the ruins?
Yes. As far as we can tell, they're part of the same complex as the temple itself.
To think of all the people who must once have lived here. These remind me of home.
You're from the north, then?
Yes. And no.
I see.
No mistakes. Nice try.
Do you see that cave up ahead? Whoever lived here carved a flight of stairs into the stone within.
A way to the top.
And whatever it is that awaits us there.
There. The temple the time forgot.
And the Varys inside.
Yes. You can see the spell's path from the nave.
What is it?
I don't know. It's probably nothing.
Forgive me, but why build the Vare here?
The spell was originally meant to be cast on Drake's Eye, and this was the only place with an unbroken line of sight. Dungarees like to think these ruins are their own.
And they look none too pleased to see us.
While our numbers dwindle, theirs seem only to increase, as if they were feeding off our suffering.
Could this be their leader?
You're more than welcome to ask.
Too slow.
That could have been worse, I suppose.
Aye, well, if the forest's taught me anything, it's that there's always something worse.
flow.
Is that the nave?
Just inside the dome, yes. But it's what's out here that worries me.
There I was thinking they'd all migrated south.
The weaker ones did.
The weaker ones. Did you hear that, Sid? What's wrong with its skin?
You don't want to be around to find out. Get back.
like the surge.
Another of my ancestors' sins. Shall we? The blue veil shows the extent of the spell's reach.
But I can feel its ether from here.
Shula, wait. Before we cross the threshold, I'd like to know a little more about how these magics work. I assume we'll be safe from their influence.
We won't grind to a halt, if that's what you mean. The spell only affects the things that were present at the moment it was cast. But if we can enter, that means other things can as well.
Like the ones we saw on the way here.
And worse, probably.
Is this Leviathan's doing?
Well, it certainly wasn't ours. When he realized my ancestors were attempting to cast a spell from here, he made to destroy the temple.
And almost did by the looks of it.
Could, but they are.
Then why is it so cold in here?
Imagine what this place must have been like before the attack.
This would have been a hall of worship. There was something similar in my father's keep. The priests would deliver their sermons from the dais.
Your father? Just let us pass.
It's all right. We'll get through this. here. One last climb, then.